If you are prioritizing healing over living, this might be keeping you stuck. If you know my story, I was debilitated with chronic illness. I had 50 different diagnoses, close to 100 different symptoms. I struggled every day for a decade of my life. And for most of that time, I stopped living. I stopped doing the things that brought me joy. I put my entire life and my family's life on hold so that I could heal before I started to engage with life again. I missed out on a lot. I missed out on my kids growing up. I missed out on opportunities for new experiences with my family, with my friends. I missed out on careers. I missed out on expansion, new experiences. I missed out on so much. And this is something I have already grieved. And if you haven't already watched my class, Grieving Chronic Illness, I highly recommend you do. But like I said, I was in survival. And I'm not judging myself. It's not anything that I did wrong. I did what I could. But I had this belief that I had to reach a certain point in my healing in order to start living my life. And in a sense, that kept me stuck, to be completely honest. And how did it keep me stuck? And maybe how's it keeping you stuck? Well, the living itself is healing. I was so focused on just doing my practices, getting in my brain retraining, sitting with all the emotions, doing the journaling, doing the tapping, all of the stuff. And I did it really well and I was consistent. But my life became about healing. And maybe yours has become that as well. I was so focused at different seasons in my life. It was either I was consumed with the protocols or consumed with the diet, consumed with the rewiring, consumed with the deeper inner work, consumed with the trauma resolution, consumed with healing. And yet I was missing the point. We're not meant to be living for healing. We're meant to live as we heal and heal as we live. And looking back, I see how this revelation for me changed everything. I came to a point in my life, in my journey, and this was years into it, where I made the conscious choice to start to live my life. Now, how did that evolve for me? Obviously, there was fear. Obviously, there was apprehension. Obviously, there was doubt. But I looked at my kids one day and said, I'm not going to miss out anymore. I'm just not. And so I asked myself, how can I participate in life again? And there were so many ways. I think so many of us have black and white thinking. We say it's either this way or no way. That in order for us to participate in life again, we have to be completely symptom free. We have to be healed. The anxiety needs to be gone. The pain needs to be gone. The thoughts need to change. The emotions need to be resolved. The trauma needs to be resolved. All of that. And so we're putting our lives on hold. And yet we're missing the fact that life is medicine. That as we live, we literally heal. And for me, that started, I remember the day, it started with going to the park with my kids. Yes, something so simple. I had heat intolerance, I had POTS syndrome, dysautonomia, chronic fatigue, chronic migraine, small fiber neuropathy, like all the things that would say, no, 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 don't go outside in the summer and go to the park with your family. No, 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 you can't handle X, Y, or Z. But I chose to. And this was a pivotal moment in my healing. I said, I choose to live. If this is as good as it gets, like if this is going to be my life now, I mean, at that point, I had this almost radical acceptance. I still held hope that it could change, but I didn't know when. And I had to accept in that moment that this is how it is, this sucks, and now I have to live anyway. And so we went to the park, and I didn't walk there because I didn't have the capacity, but I got to drive. And we all packed into the car. My kids had their stuff. We had this like water, kind of like sprinkler water set there at the park, and they had their bathing suits on, and they had snacks, and my husband was with us. And I just remember the smell of the sunscreen as I was rubbing it on their faces. And I found this little spot in the shade on this rock that I could sit on, and I connected to that sense of groundedness and stability. And I just let myself be here. I brought a fan with me because I needed some supports. I had ice packs with me in case I overheated. And of course, all of these weren't from a place of fear so much as they were from a place of support. I decided to support myself as I lived. Now, again, I didn't do this perfectly. I wasn't without symptoms. Yeah, the fear was there, but I noticed glimmers that day. I heard my kids laugh. They were thrilled to have me there. It was like a really big deal. And it was the beginning of more moments like this. The beginning of this invitation for me and this reminder to start to choose the things that align with my values, with my beliefs, with the life I want to live, the life that God has for me, who He created me to be. And so the next time something came up, obviously, I exercised choice and agency. I didn't say yes to everything, but if it was something that I wanted to do, I would choose to do it, and I would do it my way. So I would bring my supports, and it's not something I was ashamed of. Yeah, I packed my food. Yeah, I brought my medication. I brought my electrolytes and all of the different things that I needed at that time. And slowly over time, as I lived, those things started to fall away too. And what's amazing is the reason for that is because I started to wire in safety with new experiences. So going to the park, getting through it, noticing glimmers, and not dying proved to my brain that I could do this. Every time that I went out and I lived, despite that I took my symptoms with me, I collected evidence that I was safe. And honestly, I rarely ever used the supports. I mean, sometimes I did, but a lot of the times I didn't need to, especially as I got safer and felt safer. And it took a while for me to let go of them. There was no rush, there's no shame in that, but it was part of the process. And so living as you heal, and we're not talking about big, massive, monumental things. I'm not telling you to go 90 for nothing from, bed bound to running a marathon or traveling around the world. But what I am saying is that every time I chose to live, I noticed safety being cultivated, and I noticed change happening within myself. And of course, as my journey expanded, I chose to do the bigger things. Like I traveled for the first time in many years and I wasn't ready. I never felt ready. And that's the thing, is you're not going to feel ready. So take that off the table. You're going to show up, you're going to have doubt, you're going to have resistance, you're going to have apprehension, you're going to have fear. But you can support yourself through it. And that's the key. If you support versus white knuckling through an experience, you experience this expansion. If you're white knuckling and you're approaching something from full survival energy, then you're just reinforcing survival. And I'm not saying that it's going to be perfect or that you're going to experience peace and joy and love and all those things and you're going to be healed when you go out. I'm saying that the more that you weave your healing as you live throughout your day, the more expansion you'll experience, the more your life will become healing. And again, there are simple things in our lives that are healing. I have this guided audio in my membership that people listen to on repeat, and it really is about just noticing that every breath is healing, that the sun on your skin is part of the healing, that every step you take when you notice a sense of groundedness and support and stability is healing. It's all healing and it's effortless, and you don't have to do anything about it. And I'm not saying that all of these resources and this work in the rewiring is not important. We know that that is very effective, very important, is part of the process. But what's equally important, if not more important, is the living and the engaging in life. And this is something that I feel so strongly about and passionate about. I get it. There's many of you who are stuck in bed just like I was, but you can start living there too. For me, it looked like doing something creative from my bed. I started my Instagram channel bedbound, like literally in my bed. I started creating my program, Rewire My Story, on a Google Doc many years ago. I didn't know how it would end, but I just started to write it. I started to have really simple moments with my kids from my bed. We'd watch a movie together, we'd cuddle and read a book, or we'd just be present. I found God. I created a relationship with Jesus Christ as I was in my bed in my deepest, darkest moments. So much change happened from that bed, and living happened even while I was bedbound. And as I created more mobility and capacity, I started to move to different areas of my house. And I didn't make healing the end all be all. I brought in other things that were aligned with my life, with my values, and I chose to do the things that I knew were supportive to me. And this is my invitation to you. If there's something you really want to do that aligns and feels like a yes, how can you give yourself permission to do it while bringing in support? Can you ask yourself, how can I modify this experience and make it accessible? It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't put your life on hold so that you can heal to this perfect level before you start living. I want you to see life as part of the healing. Start wherever you're at. Here in this bed, in a chair, if you're outside listening, if you're in your car. I'm telling you, every time I chose life, a little bit of healing happened. And I believe it for you. It's something I teach all of my clients, and I witness the changes in real time. If this resonated with you, let me know below, like and subscribe for more. And if you want to know more about my coaching program and my membership Haven, everything is in the description below.